My name is Erica Bree. I was living in Antioch, California, and me and my baby was homeless out there. We've been homeless now for about 2 years. We've been in and out of motel rooms, not really much family to go to, not really knowing what to do, where to go.
So I'm feeling good. I'm almost 62 years old and not even going. Because too many of my friends have died out there. Stuff is bad. The stuff is bad.
Time has given me the lens or a way to look at this, and I just, what does it boil down to? What is the essence of our women, of the women's homelessness? We could start by looking at gender inequity, we could look at sexism, misogyny, also coming from, spousal support. That just by the mere fact of becoming a widow and losing the provider, losing their husband, led to their homelessness.
Was relying on pills for a while when I still had my business, and that didn't seem to make an impression, didn't hurt my business at all. It was just like opiates, like codeine or Vicodin or something. That was like my me time, and then I'd go out and work again in the latter part of the day. That changed to cocaine after a very disappointing couple of years with a fella that was living with me. I had a wonderful cottage. I've always had my own apartments, and so the thing is, economics in San Francisco has become such that it's impossible to have your own place anymore. I mean, except for like a one room in a hotel. Prices are just outrageous, and I have a great deal of anxiety over that. At this late stage of the game for me, it's like, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go?
We have to work against an economy in our country which has been very, very challenging for the past 4 years, and I think it's not surprising that the numbers that we're seeing of women has grown. Women are not economically on equal footing with men, and oftentimes women who are aging in our population have fewer opportunities than men of a certain age, and women with kids in single-headed households where they're not getting family support from a former spouse. These are very challenging situations.
And then generally, over time, when I put all this stuff together, and it just came out in the essence, it was like the feminization of poverty. It's like there's, there are more women in below poverty line. 1 in 4 women are poor, and poor enough to be homeless, unable to provide shelter. If they are marginally housed, then there's something else they're unable to do. That day to day they are trying to keep a shelter, a roof over their head, trying to keep food.
That are single women that are on the street are at great risk for being abused sexually, physically, used for sex work. If you have an addiction issue, it's very easy for someone to take advantage of you to help you get your drugs if you're a woman. There's also very few resources in San Francisco for families, and I think that when you look at a woman that's got 5 kids who's on the street, that should be an immediate bells ringing, lights go off. That should be unacceptable to us.
Within our low-income community here, and particularly for women who are homeless, there are very, very high rates of domestic violence, sexual assault and violence, really debilitating experiences that people have had in life, which are trauma that, if unaddressed, really create barriers to people becoming successful.
Particularly when you have new construction going on, we're a growing city, where you have new people who've not been in the community before, and all of a sudden they moved in where there's been a homeless clinic or a residential program for over 20 years, and they're new members of the community. They're sometimes have a little less tolerance.
So I think, one of the things that we try to do is educate people. In terms of the compassion threshold, people get burned out. They get burned out on the issue because it looks like nothing is happening. And sometimes it's very difficult for people to put themselves in somebody else's place, especially somebody that seems very different than them. And somebody that is very needy and dirty and, getting in their way or whatever.
So I was really surprised when I came to San Francisco, coming from a rural area where people are a little more conscientious of people laying in the street. I was very shocked by what I saw in terms of that lack of compassion that I saw with people laying in the street.
I think the compassion threshold affects different parts of our community. And our community is the treatment community, the provider community, as well as the community. So we don't get referrals unless we're given them. Someone lets us know that there's an encampment. Someone lets us know that there's some folks that maybe aren't doing so well on a particular alleyway. There's a congregate of people in a certain spot. So it depends on how we're given the information. Most of the time it's come get these people, make them go away. So that's a compassion fatigue sort of issue.
Oftentimes women that are homeless have a higher propensity to have mental illness is a challenge. So you have individuals that are dually and triply diagnosed. We certainly have a number of women that are homeless that are affected by HIV, so we expect about 20% of our homeless population is affected by HIV, and that's a very significant barrier for women who are homeless. As you can imagine, being able to maintain your medicines, the retroviral and other therapies that can enable you to live a long life and to manage a very chronic condition can be extremely difficult for individuals on the street.
So I think a lot of it is just education as much as we can. So when we go to community groups, we talk about what it's like to be homeless and how anybody can get themselves into that position. And it's not that you're lazy or that you want to be there or there's something wrong with your character. It's something that happens to people and it kind of spirals out of control. And if you can get them to imagine, like for most people, a lot of people are living a paycheck to a paycheck. And if there were a crisis in their lives, like a medical emergency, or for one reason or another, they can't pay the rent or whatever, they could find themselves homeless as well.
To actually see these women come in with their children, it just, and I have a child, so it just kind of did something to me, like, I don't know, it's just weird. Like, I go home every day and I'm just like totally thankful just for the little things, it changed my whole outlook on life as don't complain because you could be here. Like, and a lot of times when I talk to the women, I always tell them, like, just because I'm sitting behind this desk, I could be here with you. Like, I'm no different. I'm a paycheck away from being homeless.
There was times where I wanted to snap. There was even times where I just wanted to give my baby up. There was times where I just said I didn't want him. But I didn't expect another young mom in here to pull me to the side and to be able to tell me she know what I'm going through. You know what I mean? And for her to sit there and tell me, I understand how you feel because my baby has that same face expression too.
a drop-in facility, which is a really important lifeline for women in San Francisco and women with their children. And so in many cases, I'm making direct referrals when someone calls and says if there's a woman and her child or children that are on the streets. I mean, that's where we go to.
A unique shelter because for women who, maybe can't get services somewhere else or haven't gotten services somewhere else, or they target women who have mental illnesses or high-end users or transgender females, maybe people that other organizations might not be able to serve or not easily serve, that A Woman's Place was targeting those people.
Something for my baby. So as I got here to this shelter, there was things that that made my baby behavior change. It made my behavior change, my attitude. But I know I had to stand strong for him. Just knowing and just being here, looking at all these other different kids, looking at all these other different babies, and the face expressions they have, and they're wondering why are we here? Why is this happening?
Just in general, whatever kind of supports, whatever we can do to bring together communities is really important. I think one of the things that happens here at A Woman's Place that women really value is that this becomes a community, and they feel support here. And they feel that their problems are recognized, and they feel safe. And so that allows them to really take next steps and to grow. And they also know that there are women that come from all kinds of directions. There are women who are professional women here. There are women that are have never held a job, that have multiple problems, that are mentally ill.
Probably best help I got here was one of the staff counselors telling me, come into my office, sit down, and let me talk to you and let you know what I can do for you. They're getting me out of here. They're getting me and my baby into a permanent shelter. We're gonna get our own place. I get to go to school like I've been wanting to. He get to go to daycare. And so with that put a smile on my face. And it made me look at my baby's face, and it put a smile on his too. And that just made me feel good. And that made me tell that staff member, just by her giving me that advice, I'm able to give it to somebody.
I'm really astounded by the services here.
Yeah.
So far, it's just helped me a lot. I mean, God, man, I was really lost, and I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel now. It's just opening up. Things are opening up more. It's miraculous, for real. It's miraculous.
I think that there's so much good that's happening in San Francisco, and I think that the possibility to do even better and to really give San Francisco's confidence that we're doing a great job and that we're helping people change their lives and that we're making changes in our system so that we do a better job. I think San Franciscans support having a city that makes investments in public health, that makes investments in addressing homelessness and poverty. They want to see those investments work. And unfortunately for many San Franciscans, most of what they experience around homelessness are individuals that they see on the street. Either individuals who've not been well served, who've fallen between the cracks, between different programs, or not been effectively case managed, or individuals who are declining to accept services. And so, unfortunately, so much of what's successful isn't really evident to people in our city.
Rand being SF Hot and Felicia, A Woman's Place. When you get the people going out and talking about what they actually do, and the kind of people that they're seeing and the progress that they're making, that can make a difference. So even people that are just burned out on the whole situation, they start understanding and they start to empathize.
We are a melange, as it were, of a couple of different agencies. We started out in 2004. We have Department of Public Health. We have one HSA employee. We had a couple more. And most of our staff is through CATS, Community Awareness Treatment Services. Our DPH employees are licensed individuals, meaning LCSWs, family therapists, and they act as clinical supervisors to a group of case managers. The San Francisco Homeless Outreach Team has two components to it. One is the street outreach arm that actually is on the street, walking about, driving about, looking for people that are obviously homeless, in distress, encampments, people that might need help. and then we have a case management arm.
So by housing opportunity, we look at the fact that the city has shelters, supportive housing, public and affordable housing. And so if we improve the outcomes for individuals and families at every stage of city-sponsored housing, I think we have a city that's more effective in responding to both individual needs and addressing poverty.
I'm on my way to find employment, so I'm really happy today, and I'm really proud of myself today, and I'm more hopeful, you know.
I say I've been here 17 years. I can look to colleagues who've been here 20 and 25 years who are just, feel really good about the work they do. Because they see some of the, they get to see people getting better. And so many, maybe neighbors don't get to see that, but we get to see it. And we see it consistently.
Saw that it was information about a new church here in Soma, she went back to our pastor's wife. She turned around and she said, I want to tell you about a woman's place because it's a great organization here in the neighborhood and maybe your church might be interested in volunteering sometime or helping out.
I mean, today, Epic Church came down. I walked them through for some needs in the building to talk to them about our lighting issues, some of our blinds need to be replaced. These are bigger projects, but some of the guys thought they might be able to help. More importantly, they took a look at our cafeteria where we have no lighting per se. We have meals going, 60 people come through at least a day, 3 times a day. People sleep here, and the lighting is dim. And I think they're going to change out the lights today. They knew right away. It's a simple matter of just getting some light bulbs and some good fixtures in here.
We are here on behalf of Epic Church doing a crash on the community room in a woman's place. So we have a crew of 18 people who have come from around the country to help us out.
Around the country?
Around the country. Missouri, Alabama.
Really?
And right here in San Luis.
Are you all from Epic Church? Is that true? That person, Chapter's out over there?
Yes.
Wow. That's pretty impressive. What do you do for Epic?
I'm just a volunteer.
Really?
I'm just a volunteer. Just help out.
Look good and taste good. I love it. This is crazy. I told Alfredo that you were working on the lights and the smile on his face just lit up. Generally, the way we look at it, the staff, with the clients, is we're trying to get them a key. The most valuable thing they have when they leave here is a key, and that key opens a door that, like everybody else that's renting, may have a landlord, but the landlord has to give you notice. All right. But that key is theirs to open that door that when they close it, nobody else can get in. It's their, you would like to say their address, I talk to the women as they're leaving here and after, I'm like, okay, what is the most valuable thing you have? And often they'll come up with, what their idea is. And generally eventually we get down to talking about that key. I have a few pictures of the clients that are leaving, holding up their keys. That's what I get. I'm like, okay. And I asked him if I could take a picture of them holding their key. And those are my memories. You know, because the most important thing I have is the key to my apartment.
Alone in my towers of gold, at the end of my day, oh, meet me at the mountain where God taught us to kneel. Oh, won't you walk me through the shadow of lies that tempts us to betray what we feel? 'Cause I'm lost and alone here in this throng of the damned. I've been whipped and been beaten and forced to submit to a man, but that's nothing compared to losing my heart and my soul to the ones I detest. I beg you forgive me, 'cause I'm only one man. Oh, I stand for the coin of the realm here inside my hand. It's the coin that acquires the semblance of freedoms we share. The freedoms we praise and we joyfully sing about all over this land. 'Cause I'm lost and I'm found, I've gotten so turned around, I'm all confused, and my lies are now truths. My sins have been praised by folks who look just like you, just like you.